everyone, it's John from What Up, and welcome back to another video. Now, WheelOfTimeSeries.com dropped a big bomb on us last night, pretty late last night actually, some fairly big Season 1 news. Now, it's a big change from the books, and we're going to get into that exclusively in this video. We're going to talk about it pretty much the whole time, but before we do, I have a couple of housekeeping things to take care of. The first one is, Happy New Year, everyone! Thank you so much for supporting me in 2020, and I hope for more of your support in 2021. And with that being said, what's in store for the channel? Well, it's pretty much more of the same. It's going to be news, rumors, leaks, set videos. I hope to continue talking with people from the show and get things from them and share it with you guys. That's what I really hope to do. And aside from all that, we're also going to be doing some more explained videos. Now, the series should premiere at some point during this year, and there's going to be a lot of people who have never read the series before watching the show. When that happens, they're going to have some questions. So our explained videos are there to explain certain topics. I've done one on the Aes Sedai and water bonds and the Shadow Spawn and the White Tower and a number of different things like that. And we're going to keep doing more of those type of videos just to help those people out, or for veteran readers who want a little bit more knowledge on one or two certain topics. So we're going to do that too. Now, the second thing and the last thing I want to talk about before we get into the video is a contest. Now, I mentioned this briefly in my last video, pretty much near the end of it, that we're going to be doing a contest when I hit 5,000 subscribers. Now, I'm about 4,700 right now, so we're about 300 away. So that means if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so if you want to be entered in this contest. The moment I hit 5,000 subscribers, basically I'm going to leave the contest open for probably 2, maybe 3 weeks. And during that time frame, every video I put out, as long as you've left a comment and a like and you're a subscriber, you're entered into the contest. So the more, more times you comment on separate videos, and if you're a subscriber, and the more likes you leave, the more times you're entered, essentially. And I'll pick a name at random from one of those comments, as long as they're subscribed and have liked the videos, and they will win one of two things. Now, this is a choice. The first thing will be a Wheel of Time mug. So it's going to be a What Up mug for my channel. You've seen them on the Dusty Wheel. Talk Around Rioid has them, the Weekly Wheel News. It looks a little bit like this. This is the Dusty Wheel version. Like that. I don't have one yet. I haven't created it just yet, but I will make one for the contest for one of the prizes. Now, if you don't want the mug, there's a second option. Now, the second option is something that maybe not everyone would want, and that's the feedback I got, which is why I'm offering the mug instead. And that is to co-host an episode with me. So you can basically come onto a video with me and we can chat about a Wheel of Time topic of your choice. Now, this worked out pretty good. If you haven't already seen Maiden Talk, which was, I think, 2 or 3 videos ago, with Real Deal Aiel and Tigraine Mantir from Twitter of Time, it's a really good video. It's about 35 minutes long, and we just talked about the Maidens for 35 minutes. It was pretty relaxed. It was a lot of fun. I had a good time with it. So it'll be something akin to that if you choose that prize. So you can either have a mug or come on the channel and do a video with me, one or the other. And that'll happen, again, after 5,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. All right, with all the housekeeping out of the way, before we get into the video, spoiler warning. In this video, I'm going to be talking about certain elements of Season 1 of Amazon Prime's Wheel of Time show. Now, this does not appear in the books, so it's not going to spoil your reading experience. However, it may spoil the first couple episodes of the show when you do watch it. So be forewarned. If you haven't already watched the show, which really at this point none of us have, I may ruin a couple things for you from the show. All right, with that out of the way, let's get on to the video. All right, so what do we have for you? WheelOfTimeSeries.com last night posted an article. Now, in this article, they talk about a new scene that is potentially being added to the first episode of Amazon Prime's Wheel of Time series. Now, this scene is not in the books, and how do they know about this? Well, they have a source very close to the production that's a trusted source that gave them some information upon some things that we already knew about. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we know about first, then we'll talk about what the source told WheelOfTimeSeries.com, and then we'll speculate a bit on what that could mean for the show. So, essentially, WheelOfTimeSeries.com has an immaculate track record, 100% correct in everything they've done so far, and this is a trusted source, so I'm going to lean in. This is fact, positive, this is going to be in the show, this is 100%, but do take it with a little bit of a grain of salt because it is not officially coming from Amazon, and if things don't officially come from Amazon, we kind of have to file them in the rumor category. So there's that. All right, so we'll talk about the information we knew first. So last year during JordanCon Line, when they did JordanCon online, basically over YouTube and Zoom, Rafe Judkins kind of dropped in on one of the panels, and he did so, not everybody knew he was coming. I know Matt Hatch in particular was very surprised about it, and he let some information about the show out. Now, at the time, this particular piece of information was, we talked about it a lot. We went over it. We didn't know what it meant. We couldn't quite piece where it fit in the books because we were all trying to fit it into a scene in the books. but we'll get into that in a minute. So what did he say? He said, we were shooting this scene with the girls, with Nynaeve and Egwene, in this beautiful gorge way off in the countryside. So that was a piece of information he gave us. Now, October 16th, 2019, there was a Slovenian article that came out about them shooting in the countryside there. Now, they talked about Rosamund Pike being part of the production. They talked about Brandon Sanderson and Robert Jordan writing the books. They talked a little bit about the Wheel of Time, and they talked about where they were filming it, and they released all these really nice pictures. So you can see these pictures. It's from the film crew. This is a bridge that they're filming upon. There was some rocks down below, a raging river. It was really cool. Now, this was, again, I said October 16th. I started my channel October 12th, so my channel would have been in its infancy at the time, and I didn't report on it, but I was aware that this article came out. Now, really, really cool pictures. You can see a lot of people in safety gear. You see a lot of cameras and lighting rigs and audio and stuff going on there. And you can see what appears to be someone in a white dress with a wig with a braid on it in the lower right-hand corner of this picture. And if we go here, you see more of the stuff in behind them, more of the safety stuff there. You can see it's quite high up. It's really cool looking, actually. It's a nice little spot. You can see them set up here. You'll notice everyone's wearing safety gear. So this entails something off the side of the bridge and in the river and on the banks of the river, so everybody has to be safe when they do it. And there was a fairly big crew on the site at the time, a lot of people there filming. And this picture here, so you'll notice that in this particular picture you see a person who we assume to be a stunt double for Madeline Madden, Egwene, wearing a white dress with a black wig with a braid. So probably Egwene's stunt double. We're not entirely sure because it doesn't say in the article, but that's what we can infer from this. So we had Rafe saying that they were filming in a gorge with Nynaeve and Egwene. They have this picture, these pictures from the Slovenian article where they did film in a gorge, and this would have been week 3 and 4 production, so it would have been fairly early on in the production. And then we have the information from the trusted source that kind of backed all of this up. And what they said was that this scene that they were filming was a women's circle scene, so this was an induction to the women's circle for Egwene. Now, Nynaeve, as Wisdom, ran the induction, and it involved a bunch of shots in caves and on cliffs and over a river and stuff. And so we can only guess at what they're doing. Did she have to jump off the bridge into a river? Did she have to jump off, the caves and into the water down below? We're not entirely sure what the scene itself involved, but it was an induction for her into the women's circle, which is kind of neat. That doesn't happen in the books, and you don't really see any interaction with Egwene and Nynaeve initially, pretty much at all, until Nynaeve joins the party later on in the series. So that being said, we do have those leaked audition tapes that come out. Now, one of them was between Rand and Egwene. Now, this gives a little more context to this, and I'm going to have to read it because I don't remember it right up front. But Rand said, "How did it go today?" And Egwene says, I can't talk about." And Rand said, "It's me. You can at least say it was good or bad, can't you?" And Egwene says, "It was good. Looks uncomfortable. Sorry, it's just I was thinking about," and then it cuts off. So at the time, myself and pretty much everyone else speculated that they were talking about Egwene being apprenticed to the Wisdom, to Nynaeve, and how she was training. And she can't talk about that Rand. However, this particular scene that they're shooting here, where it's a woman's circle induction, led by Nynaeve, with Egwene in it, pretty much, concludes that that's probably what they're talking about, because it makes a lot of sense. It's not something she's supposed to talk about. It's with the women's circle. It's with the women's circle business, really. It's got nothing to do with the men in the village. And even though Rand and her are very close, she can't talk about it. And really cool. We don't see it in the books, but it might give us a little bit of backstory to Egwene and Rand's relationship, where they're together a bit, and these are the first cracks between them where they're starting to hold secrets from each other. So we may see this as the first secret between the two of them. We may see the fact that Rand thinks that Tam perhaps is not his father. The very first couple chapters of The Eye of the World. You might see that as a second secret. So this is really good because Rafe has stated before that there are changes to the source material. We're going to see different things on screen and in the books, because a lot of the characters' emotional motivations we get from how they think in the books. And you can't do 3 hours of internal monologue on the screen. It doesn't make any sense to do that. So they have to show it in different ways. And they're going to show certain things. They're going to show Perrin's gentle nature in certain ways in the screen, things that aren't in the books, but get you to understand his character a bit more. And I think this will give us a little more understanding between Rand and Egwene's dynamic, how they were together and how they're sort of drifting apart, how they're both growing as people and getting older. And I think we'll be able to see how the women's circle works, and we'll be able to see a really good introduction to the people of Amon's Field and perhaps some of the rituals they do. Again, not mentioned in the books at all. Pretty much braiding your hair is the only real ritual they mention, that and dancing along the spring pole. But I think this would be really cool to see. So we have the source telling us that this is what the scene is about. We know they actually shot there, per a Slovenian article. We have the pictures to prove it. And we know that Rafe said they were filming in this beautiful gorge off in the countryside with Nynaeve and Egwene, and no one could really place what that was because it was, you know, a scene that we couldn't really fit into the books. Now, it makes perfect sense that it's a scene that's not in the books that, you know, they made up for the show to show part of the character's motivations and a little bit of backstory between different ones, which I'm pretty happy about. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Is this that particular scene? Will we see the women's circle induction, run by Nynaeve in inducting Egwene into the women's circle? Will we see these shoots coupled with that? Will we see some more backstory from some of the characters? Are we going to see the emotional motivations of the characters played out in differing ways on screen, perhaps in scenes that aren't in the books more often than not? Let me know what you guys think. Are you happy with this change? Unhappy with it? What are your thoughts and feelings on that? Also, let me know what you think about the contest down below too, so there's that. And again, before we go, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so I can enter you in that contest the moment I hit 5,000. All right. Thank you so much for sticking with me here to the very end, and here's to many more.